Hello everyone, my name is Jennifer and welcome to Best Kept Plans. Today's video is a budget with me for the paycheck that I will be receiving on March 31st, 2022 using the printable version of the Budget by Paycheck workbook from the Budget Mom. If you're interested in seeing that, please stick around. So this is a really exciting budget with me. March is one of those months where I have 3 separate paychecks. So this is the budget with me for the paycheck that I'm receiving on the 31st, which is the last day of March. If we're looking at my March monthly spread, you can see that everything I have in here is already marked off. And that's because I'm receiving this 3rd paycheck the last day of the month, so I'm not using it to pay for anything in March, but I am going to be using it to pay things that are due in April. So if I flip to my April monthly spread, I don't get paid in April until the 14th. So my rent and my Spotify, which I've marked off in purple or lavender, are to indicate what I'm paying with the paycheck that I receive on the 31st. And of course, I do have to keep in mind that anything I have written in yellow here is an amount that I want to save, and that stuff is going to come out of this paycheck as well. So if we flip to the paycheck budget tracker, we'll talk more specifically about what I'm going to be doing with this paycheck. I'm going to zoom you all in so you have a better view. So first off, I want to talk about my income. So in early 2022, was hesitating with changing what I write down as my budgeted income. I did receive a raise, an annual raise at the end of 2022, and so it made sense to increase what I had written here. And I have for the last couple of months had my income to be budgeted at $3,030. But if you actually look at my paycheck budget tracker for the paycheck I received on the 17th, my actual income was $3,003.93. Now, the reason why that was is because I have a couple of retirement accounts through my employer, and every year on my birthday, the percentage that I contribute to those retirement accounts increases by 1%. I have them set up that way. And my birthday was on March 1st. So in my last paycheck, that increase in percentage was reflected, and I believe my income is going to be closer to $3,000 every pay period moving on forward. So I am deciding now to change my budgeted income down to $30 instead of $3,000 instead of $3,030. If we look at my bills, just like I showed in my April monthly spread, the bills that we will be paying with this paycheck are my rent and my Spotify, and I've marked off that those are bills that are due in April 2022. I pay $600 for rent. I also pay $11 around that for Spotify. So if I add those together, my total bills for this pay period are going to be $611. And if I subtract that from the $3,000 that I budgeted my income to be, I am left with $2,389, which is what I'm going to bring down to the envelope section or variable expense section of the paycheck budget tracker. So with every budget that I have, if you've been watching along here, you'll know that my variable expense categories do not change, and these values have been the same since the beginning of 2022. I am constantly monitoring my gas. I am toying with increasing that gas budget a little bit more. I did well with the last pay period, so I'm kind of leaving it as is for right now, but I do have in the back of my mind that I can change this whenever I feel like I need to, if I feel like I need to. So I always budget $200 for groceries, $75 for eating out, $75 for gas, and $150 for miscellaneous. And if I add all of those together, they do equal to $500. If I subtract that $500 from the $2,389 that I was left with after paying my bills, I have a total of $1,889 that I can bring up to the sinking fund section of the paycheck budget tracker. Now, the paycheck section has been where all the action has been at for the last few budgets. I am reaching goals, which is super exciting because we're only in the third month of 2022, but I'm reaching goal on a few different cash envelopes, or I already have. So I reached goal on subscriptions with my last pay period. I had already reached goal with birthdays and holidays. And so instead of just decreasing what I'm putting towards my sinking funds, I'm instead choosing to do a bit of a sinking fund snowball where I just filter that money into envelopes that I haven't reached goal at yet so that I can reach goal quickly. And so I did kind of put a question out with my last budget with me and cash envelope stuffing about where my extra cash should be going. Sorry, everyone, I shook the thing there. Where my extra cash should be going now that I will be reaching goal on my medical sinking fund with this paycheck. So my medical sinking fund is the one that I've been working on. I generally contribute $20 to it. With this paycheck, if I contribute $30, I will reach goal. So we will be fully funded in medical, but we'll also have some extra cash that we could put towards another sinking fund. And I was debating whether I wanted to put it towards Christmas, which is not, of course, something that I need until probably October or November 2022, but that I was pretty close to hitting goal on, versus putting it towards my car insurance and taxes, which are due in July 2022. But if I just keep saving the usual amount, I'll get to that bill in time before it's due. And I was thinking that it made more sense to put it towards car insurance and taxes because that's what I'm going to be using first. But of course, I like the idea of reaching goals as quickly as possible, and I know I'd reach goal on Christmas quicker. I did ask you all for your opinion, and every single person said I should put it towards car insurance and taxes. So that was kind of like the last confirmation I needed to let me know I was making the right choice with concentrating on car insurance and taxes first. So for this paycheck, we will be putting $50 towards travel, $25 towards Christmas, $30 towards medical, which will fully fund it, $50 towards car maintenance, and then $115 towards car insurance and taxes. If I add all of that together, it does equal to $270, which is the usual amount I put towards sinking funds. And if I subtract that from the $1,889 we were left with after paying my bills and stuffing my variable expense cash envelopes, we have $1,619 left. That is what I'm going to bring all the way down to the savings section of the Paycheck Budget Tracker. I do have debt. My debt is my student loans. I am not currently contributing or paying on them. They are on hold right now, and I'm choosing to instead put all of my cash towards my number one savings goal, which is my house savings goal. I've certainly had a lot of questions as to why I wouldn't want to be taking advantage of the 0% interest rate on my student loans, and that is absolutely something that I would love to take advantage of. But I really, my main goal is purchasing a home. I'm not young. I am young. That sounds wrong. I am young, but I'm not necessarily young to be purchasing a home. I'm in my 30s already. I desperately want to buy a home. I want to start settling into, my forever place. And I'm thinking more and more about starting a family in the near future. And the first step of that to me is purchasing a home. So buying a home is more of a priority for me right now than paying off debt. I also live in a very expensive location. I'm from Connecticut. If anybody knows anything about Connecticut, it is incredibly expensive to live here. Homes are outrageous, and on top of the fact that they're usually outrageous, we're also in a really wild time for the housing market, and homes are going for much, much more than they were a few years ago. So I really do feel like I need to be filtering all of my extra money into my house savings. I would love at the end of the day to be able to take some portion of what I have saved for my house and put it towards my student loans. But for right now, house savings is still the major goal. That's just what my personal priority is. Everyone's priorities are different. And certainly if people are taking advantage of that 0% interest, more power to them. I think that's awesome. So all of what I have left over, the full $1,619, is going to go towards my house savings. If I flip this over and share with you all the cash envelope breakdown, it looks very similar to how it usually does. This doesn't change super it doesn't change a lot from paycheck to paycheck. First, I have my variable expense cash envelopes listed, and then my sinking funds, and then any bills I have to take out or savings challenges I have to take out in cash. I did want to mention, I always forget to mention that groceries isn't listed here because I shop online. I do my groceries online, and so I have to pay for my groceries online. So I actually transfer the $200 that I put aside for groceries, that I budget for groceries. I transfer it from my main checking account into a separate checking account the day that I get paid, and then I pay my grocery bill from there. So for my eating out and my gas, they're both $75. So I'm going to pull them in a $50, $20, and $5 bill. Miscellaneous, this is the one where we will tend to see some changes happening from paycheck to paycheck, and that's because that's where I usually pull any savings challenges from. So if you remember when we looked at the April monthly spread, I had several savings challenges that I was going to have to pull from my cash envelopes for this pay period, and I did factor those amounts in when I came up with these totals here. So for my $150 total in my miscellaneous envelope, I'm going to pull two 50s, a $20 bill, $10 bill, 3 5s, and 5 singles. For my sinking funds, I always try to pull the largest bills I can. So a $50 bill for travel, a 20 and a 5 for Christmas, a 20 and a 10 for medical, 50 for car maintenance, and then 100, a 10 and a 5 for my car insurance and taxes. And then lastly, I do have to pay my rent, and I always pull that in 300s and 650s. This all comes to a total of $1,170, which is what I will pull out of my checking account on the 31st when I get paid. And I, of course, will be sharing that cash envelope stuffing with you all in just a couple of days. Just as a short update, a small update, I'm going to zoom out just a little bit here. I am still keeping up with my savings challenges and everything and all of my trackers. I do have my tracker for the 2022 savings challenges. I shared this on Instagram the other day, and I do have my total for March already because I've already contributed everything I'm going to put in for March. So this is really exciting. I've done really well so far, and this is almost $700 in just the first 3 months of the year, which is great. I think I saved like $1,300 in 2021, and so I'm literally like halfway to that total in only the first 3 months of the year, which I'm super excited about because my goal for 2022 is to save more than I did last year for the 2022 savings challenges from the Budget Mom. I'm still keeping up with my 52-week challenge, and when I do my cash envelope stuffing, you'll see me check off rows 13 and 14. I'm keeping up with my $5 challenge. I currently have $725 in my jar. And then this is just my net worth tracker and my credit score tracker, but I did actually end up filling in the rest of my March flowers for this goals tracker that I have that I'm using as a savings tracker for my house savings. So I use this for January, February, and March. For March, each flower is $100, and with my first paycheck, I think I saved like $1,500, and then with my second one I saved $12 or $11, and so I only had $500 that I needed to save from this last paycheck to reach my goal of $3,000 for the month. Actually, that's a lie because there's 31 flowers here, so I only needed $400 to reach my goal, and obviously I'm going to be contributing $1,600, a little over that, so definitely reaching my goal there. So I finished filling in those florals, and I love this tracker. It's super cute. Really, really exciting to see that I have been able to reach goal all 3 months of the of 2022 so far, so I'm really happy with that. I hope that you all enjoyed this budget with me. As always, if you have any questions or comments, never hesitate to put them down below. I'm always curious to hear what you all have to say about my budgets, or if you have questions about how I use the Budget by Paycheck workbook, or specifically the printable version. I did hear that the Budget Mom will not be releasing physical products in 2020 for the 2022 year. So when she releases the Leverage Planner this year, as well as the Budget by Paycheck workbook, she'll only be doing digital. So if you have any questions or comments about how I utilize the digital copy or the printable version, definitely let me know. As always, everyone, please be safe. Bye-bye.